there.
Yeah,
It's going to be right on time for your demotion.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that in person this year again.
Right.
But,
Which will be quite fine, frankly.
yeah, we got plan A and plan B going here, let me just say.
You don't want to be humiliated, huh?
Oh, I'm humiliated every morning. I wake up and look in the mirror. So
Oh, not good.
Get over
Not
that
nice.
by not looking in the mirror.
I've tried that. All right. Let's see. I don't see our. Hi, Dara. How are you? I don't see our speaker, and it's
No,
noon.
I don't see. There's only a few of us today.
Hello, Mr. Smith. How are you? Ron?
Hey, I'm pretty good there.
Joe and
Oh,
Rachel.
So we got
There's
the
here.
right 25, 28 people, so that's okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's call the 18.
Yeah.
Yay, Christine. Outstanding. Thank you, Alex. Where do I see Christine? Do I see her yet? Not yet.
Yeah.
Probably not yet, but she'll show up. If you show up, that's our guest today.
Yes, we have another guest today too who happened to come in. Hello, Ms. Gaspar. How are you and welcome?
Hi, all. It's great to see your smiling faces.
Hi.
Oh, hi,
Oh,
Chris.
I'm
my
ready
goodness.
to hug people again, though.
Yes,
That's
I
You
know.
better ask permission first.
Yes,
That's right.
yes,
all these
indeedy.
rules.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Ron. Hi, Dara. Rachel.
Hey, Johnny's there.
Hey.
How are you,
That's
sir?
impressive because Johnny's up north visiting relatives. That's dedication right there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
Look
The
at that
benefit
grin.
of Zoom.
Talking about hugging. Look at that grin. He's up there with family having a good time.
Yeah.
All right, so who is our coordinator for today?
I am Andy. Doug, I just got a text from Robin.
Okay,
I think we both assumed she had the sign in, but it's been changed since her last talk. So I'm sending her
okay,
the information as we speak.
beautiful. Well, in that case, I will give one more minute before we start the meeting. Let's see, there's that. Let's take this over here. Let's, oh, gosh. All right, love you, have a good one.
Bye, Kristen. Love you.
Bye, Krista.
Love you. Have a good one.
Dara,
Yay.
did you receive my email?
Nope,
Ossie, are you talking to me?
okay, Alex.
Yes.
Oh, what did you ask me? I'm sorry.
If you received my email
When did you send it?
yesterday.
No.
Hmm.
What email did you send it to?
The one in Yahoo. Your first initial, your last name at Yahoo.
Yeah. Yeah, I should. Yeah, but I didn't see it.
You probably blocked it.
Probably.
Story of his life, huh? See,
Yeah, that's true. No respect.
I did
No
not get it.
respect.
I'm sorry. You want me to send you one and then you can just hit reply and put it there in
Okay,
case. it
Beautiful.
pops
I
up?
did it. Or probably in the trash.
Probably.
All-
Let me look in spam.
Hey, there we go. There's our guest for Alex and Justin. All right. So I'm there. Hello, Kristen. Welcome. Kristen Bush. Yes. We have two Kristens today. So two guests named Kristen today. All right. So I am going to get this started and count on that. our speaker will be joining us shortly. And if something comes up, Doug, I can definitely text her as well or email her.
Okay, yeah, well, I just emailed her.
Okay. I have confidence.
2:04, she emailed back, I need the Zoom link, so we're a minute,
It's all good.
behind, out of sync, so yeah.
It's all good. All right. So it's March 23rd. That means it's almost the end of the third month. One more week, one more week, and we're going to be into April, which is a wonderful month too. So let's go ahead and ring the, oh, actually real quick before I do that. Ione, how are you? Would you be willing to lead the pledge when we get there? Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so let's ring in the meeting.
Oh.
Ding.
Oh, I see. So that's why we're not hearing any sound. See, just too many things going on. Ugh. All right, we rang in the meeting. There was a bell. Trust me. All right, Joe, how are you? Welcome. And would you love to start our invocation?
Yes. And
Thank
today
you.
I'd like to share a promise from the Bible as our invocation today. And it says, "Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace always in every way. The Lord be with you all. Amen."
Thank you very much.
Short and sweet.
Just like you, Aussie.
Thank you.
And you're neat. And the point is you're not even short. So anyhow. All right. Ione, it is time for the pledge. Would you lead us, please?
Would you all please join me in reciting our pledge to our flag and our country? Put your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
of the
States
of America and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'm a little off today. I forgot to mute everybody else. Thank you, Ione. You were doing great. You did great. It was my bad. And here's, oh, wait a minute. Okay, come on. No, not what I want to do. Just, there we go. Come on. There we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Escondido Rotary Club Zoom meeting. We have two guests today. Kristen, Kristen Gaspar, are you still a member of Encinitas, or are you a guest, or are you visiting Rotarian today?
So I'm still a member of the Encinitas Rotary Club, but many of you know I've accepted a position as the Senior Director of Government Affairs for Palomar Health. So my role has transitioned into Escondido, looking outside the window today. So I hope to join you frequently. My club's going to be a little jealous, so don't tell them. But I'm happy that I'm familiar with so many of you. So I guess I'm in a weird interim hybrid Rotarian right now.
Well, there you go. And, you know, you could certainly always, I'm sure they would be very gracious if you wanted to change your membership.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't be very gracious, but it might come down to that.
Oh, come on. I come from Encinitas originally. I know that they're good folk. All right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the bad boys table there at Rotary has to say about that. That might make for a good meeting.
There you go. And Kristen Bush, welcome. Justin, would you like to introduce Kristen?
Yes, on behalf of Alexandra, welcome to Kristen Bush. Recently, we sent out some invitations to select members of the community, inviting them to check us out on Zoom and see what great people we are. So guys, live up to the expectations, please.
Nice to see you.
I've already kind of messed up that expectation. What do you do in Escondido, Kristen?
Well, I moved to Escondido 3 years ago. I've got two young kids who go to preschool in Escondido, and I'm a lawyer, but I work in downtown. But with Zoom, now I work from home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what kind of lawyer are you?
I do business litigation primarily at the firm of Short Submergent, Colley, and Evans. So looking to get involved with the local community. Really love living in Escondido so far. I'm excited to attend this meeting.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we normally sing to our guests, but Zoom has, well, as you saw with the pledge, Zoom has changed that because lag is so interesting. So instead, we had one of our favorite members do this for us. So welcome.
Howdy, we're glad to have you here. Welcome, we sing it loud and clear. Relax, enjoy the program, and won't you come back to see us again?
Much more pleasant, isn't that, Kristen
It
Gaspar?
was great. Thank you.
Member moments. I did take that slide out because I didn't know we were going to have a member moment today, but Miss Alex, apparently her jaw has been wired shut. No, just went to the dentist, I guess. So hopefully you'll recover quickly. And yes, there we go. Big thumbs up. And the other thing that it's not really any of our members, but I actually was born and raised in Boulder. So I would just ask for some good energy, good thoughts going to that community. Fortunately, I did not know anyone personally that was involved, but it was a little bit scary last night for a couple hours. So please just send some good energy and thoughts and that wonderful little town that I come from. Our calendar this weekend. Actually, we have two things coming up this weekend. I didn't get the second one added to the calendar, but Ron will be talking about that shortly. We have the Adopt a Highway cleanup on Saturday morning. Please join us for that if you can. Next week, our district governor will be joining us, and he'll be our program. That'll be a lot of fun. Then on the 6th, Blake Steinecke will be our program. He ended up, this is a young man who has a congenital disease that took away his vision a couple of years ago, and he's continued to play hockey and advance with his studies. Apparently he's almost done, almost graduated. He'll be an interesting program. The 7th, the 21st, and the 5th of May, we have Haven House. On the 10th, we have the District Training Assembly, and I really still encourage you all to sign up for that if you can. It's free. It's Zoom like this, so it's really painless, and you get to know a lot of great people. 13th, Second Serve, which is a youth-led charity. They recycle tennis gear. On the 20th and the 27th, we'll be presenting our community grant recipients. And on the 4th of May, DA Summer Stefan. All right. I'm still kind of vamping here. We've got some, there's the member moments. Like I say, yesterday was a little distracting, and I apologize. This is not normally as disorganized as I am. Christine, would you like to get me out of this jam a little bit, please?
I'll do my best. For our guests, because we are separated physically, Andrew last year started Rotarians in the Wild. So we search social media and see what our friends and fellow Rotarians are up to this week. Rachel isn't in the picture, but it's a happy boba kind of day. So her husband and her daughters are having a boba.
Boba Fett.
Yeah. So we have other kids in the picture. This is St. Patrick's Day. Hi, AJ. That's Ozzy's son. Paulette had not been to the rodeo since she was 9 or 10 years old, and she's in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and took some great pictures. Joe Garcia, Escondido City Council, was visiting the Escondido Disposal Inc. and got a tour about waste and recycling. Did any of you see John Oliver on plastics recycling on Sunday night on HBO?
Yes.
Very interesting, wasn't it? Of how very little of what we're putting in recycling actually gets recycled. So that might make a wonderful program someday.
Hear that, Derek?
Next.
Derek's like, what?
Yeah.
I thought this was a one-year thing. Oh.
And the Campbells have had a wonderful time. It looks like a bunch of pictures, but Bate, first time in California soil since February of 2020. So her daughter and her son, both out and playing. So that's pretty exciting.
And it looks like at least the soccer team won. Vate, I saw you in here earlier. Did the baseball team
Yes.
win?
My daughter had her first freshman, well, she's a freshman, so finally got to play some sports before they returned to school. Kind of funny about that, but JV team won Friday night, 2-0. And then my son was able to play in California again. So gone are those trips to Yuma and Phoenix that we've been doing since summer.
Wow.
So
Did they win? Did the baseball team win, or are they like the Padres?
both. We played 3 games. We played an age division up. So as my boys like to say, they played against men, 1 age higher. So they held their own. They won 1, they lost 2, but they did great.
Outstanding. Very good. All right. Did I see, is Dr. Rick here today? Dr. Rick is not here today. That's disappointing because he insisted last week on having a very specific slide put into the show and thought that he was being very clever. So I wanted to do this for Rick.
Do it to Rick. Rather than for Rick.
And yeah, Colleen's still got a team in, I guess. Gonzaga is still in. I heard SC is still in. And Mike, you were saying your team's still in?
Yep.
So go round ball.
And the Ducks and the Beavers are still in?
UCLA's still in.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yep.
They look good.
Yeah.
They should just turn it into a Pac-12 Final Four and get on with it.
Or they
No
should put it on
problem.
ice and give them hockey pucks and I'd watch. All right. This last weekend, we had the Veteran Stand Down Clothing Drive. It looked amazing. I wished I could have been there. Keith, are you here today? Boy, a lot of people missing today.
He and Rick are both licking their wounds.
Yeah, I'm imagining. Yeah, because Ohio. Yes, exactly. Ron, were you at the collection point on Saturday?
You know, Andy, I got down there for a couple of minutes early on to help out with some stuff, and it looked like it was functioning really, really well. I didn't stay a whole long time, so I take no credit as a volunteer. But Royce had a truckload of stuff that he got down there that was offered up by Bernie, and I had some stuff. They had a big panel truck down there that the clothing was loaded directly into this time. So it made a very smooth, efficient operation. And I think they did a fabulous job.
Yeah, I arrived there just after Ron left, Andy, and there was a good group that came fairly steadily. And I think there were a lot of clubs represented. So it was a good event.
And I'm sure that Veteran Stand Down can still use some stuff if you didn't get an opportunity to drop your clothing by on Saturday.
Absolutely. And if anybody needs help with that, they should reach out to me.
Perfect. Thank you. Vaughn, and I'm sorry the quality on this picture because I was literally working on it as I started up this program. So you
Great.
want to
Well,
talk about this.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Escondido Shines Day. This is the annual Earth Day event that we've had for the past 6 years, except for last year's COVID, which was a canceled event. And we were invited to continue with it this year, perhaps because the RB Church came into Escondido with their huge numbers and actually did a family hands-on park cleanup here in the city. And so when I talked to Joanna Axelrod about whether we should do that, she encouraged us to go ahead and have a family type service event on the 24th at 4 of the parks. You see them shown there: Grape Bay, Jasmine Dean, Mountain View, and Kit Carson. So we're going to be servicing all of those parks. All of the Rotary clubs are invited. Jess Rimmeritz is going to help out. Steve, district governor, is going to probably talk a little bit about that next week. And he's encouraging the other clubs to participate. So I know Keith Rickenbacker is smiling inside now because he's been after us to get more and more involved with other Rotary clubs. So that brings me to the point of a request. We have about 400 shine bags, those yellow ones, that we need to update. And so I've got stickers to replace the date with the 24th of April, 2021. And Chuck Ailing has invited us to use his facility to do the sticker switch on these bags. And we're also going to put them into recovered political signs so that they'll be able to stand upright, and hope to be able to put them at entrances of the parks and other places with the city's cooperation, where we can put the public on notice. What you're seeing on the screen is the flyer that's going to be going out to the community later this week in mass. And we will be encouraging families to participate. The program, according to the city, is all families are invited to come down. Pre-registration is required by the 17th of April. And then they will assign families to specific locations at each of the 4 parks. So you pick your park, and this is something I would hope every able-bodied Rotarian in Escondido can consider doing. Go on today or soon and register. Pick your park. You can do whatever you want to do there. You'll be assigned as a family. If you want to join with 2 other families for a total of 3, the city workers will help us do that. So the request then is, we have Saturday morning available, but I hate to conflict with the highway cleanup. So Chuck said that he would make his facility available Friday morning as an alternative. So that's 4 days away. So here's the question. Everybody's got a chat emblem. If you could say, I would come, if you could just put by your name an F for Friday from 9 to 11 or so, or an S for a Saturday, it's going to be an easy project. We're going to be just fixing up these bags and getting them signs ready. The Arts Association is going to paint the 50 signs that we make. So they'll be used later. So it's a worthy project, and we do need some help to get this done quickly. So if you could look at your chat button and do a click that says, I could come on Friday. Well, all you need to do is just put an F for Friday. Or if you could come either day, put an F and an S. Or if it's Saturday only, then just put the S. And then Andy and I will be looking at those during the meeting, and we'll make a decision before the meeting's over as to whether it's going to be Friday or Saturday. Did we cover everything, Andy?
I think you did.
Hey,
I see one person volunteered who's a visiting Rotarian. Come on, folks. If you're visiting Rotarian can volunteer, I think we can have some more of our regular volunteers here.
I have to say, we had 1,600 come over from Rancho Bernardo.
Well,
to
no,
help
this is
our
just
part.
for the sign painting and the
Right, I
and
understand.
the bags on either Friday or Saturday of this week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good.
All right,
All
we'll
right, well,
just
please
we'll
help us
keep
out.
this open. We'll keep our eyes open on that. So, all righty. So let me make an adjustment here. Thank you, Kristen, for stepping up already. We're gonna make you an Escondido faster than you.
Sure. I have to shame everybody else that needs to jump on that chat box.
Right.
You are amazing, Kristen. So fast.
Shame. All right, and this is about the Adopt a Highway cleanup. You have Mr. Mike there. You have that's Larry back there. There's Ione, and there's our old friend. Not old friend. There's a friend from a few years back, Suzanne Southwell. She comes every time. Come out and join us. And there's Jan. Thank you, Jan. Good. So here's where I'm kind of in a conundrum.
No problem.
I'm not seeing that our speaker is in here yet.
Oh. Yes, Doug.
Yeah. Dr. Doug. We have an update. Let me see here. We're running out of time too.
You're muted, Doug.
Talk about hike-a-thon. Okay, well, Doug
Sorry.
is, there we go. Go ahead, Doug.
She emailed me back and indicated she got the login stuff, so let me call her right now.
All right, thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. So to vamp for time, yes, the hike-a-thon. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alex, for the reminder. This last weekend, we did our first fundraising hike-a-thon down at in San Diego, and that was a lot of fun. I wasn't able to join again this weekend, but I did my own hike in assistance with you guys. And as Christine pointed out, my Facebook comment, I was actually kind of grateful that it came out as hike-a-thin instead of hike-a-thong, because that would have been even worse. But it's a great event. Nick Soulis and Alex and Justin did San Diego, which is a really nice little stroll down through there. We raised $3,550 already, which is really good. I have another $250 pledged. I just don't have the credit card information to input for the guy who pledged to me, which is nice. Next hike-a-thon will be the 8th of April, and it's a really easy hike. We need as many members to join us as we can. It's down around Lake. I'll get. Thank you, Alex. See you and your
Ron and Doug Moyer, I apologize to keep you hanging. I thought that I had emailed you the login data. And actually, I forgot we changed since the last time you appeared.
All right, I'm going to do that for a second. I apologize, Doug. So it's that, I don't know if you remember, about a year and a half ago, we had a program on the painting, the rock painting by the natives in the area. And it was an amazing program. It was very cool. And that's where our next hike is going to be. It's a fairly flat hike around Lake Hodges, going from the just off the 15 and Bernardo exchange, Pomerado Bernardo exchange. Real easy hike, real cash. Our goal is to raise around $30,000. That's 8 hikes, 45 miles. And if you want to join, you can email Alex at alexandra.sdms@gmail.com. Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Doug.
Yeah, Andy, I just talked to Robin. She needs you to email her the extended link.
Okay. I can do that.
I thought she had it, so.
All right, not a problem. Let me see. I don't know if I
have her email address, but let me do this copy and paste first. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Just work with me, computer. Just this one. All right, let me do two things. What is her email address?
And now you're gonna, okay, it is Douglas@illinois.edu.
Douglas there she is. Okay, perfect. I'm going to double send it just in case. Send it from the home account. Meeting login. There's that. So while we're vamping for a little more time, who wants to talk?
Kristen, what her new job entails.
Yeah.
Andy, one
Yes.
other, the second serve, the presentation coming up on the 14th. The
Yes.
girls were featured on NBC Kids News this last Saturday morning. And they're the last segment, and it's online and also I think on Instagram. So you can get a sneak preview of that program.
You know, they've also volunteered to be part of the Escondido renewal, and they will be presenting to some of our kids, somewhere around 100 to 150 youth who don't have all of the equipment that they need and can't maybe afford to get it. So they're gonna organize a big giveaway, and it'll probably be in May, when we were going to do it as part of Escondido Shines Day, but they were a little concerned at the city of gathering that many people close. So in May or June, we're going to experience as beneficiaries of Second Serve their nationwide giveaway program focused here in Escondido, sharing tennis rackets, hats, gloves, everything. They're a great organization.
Also, Vaughn, this is something we might consider partnering with a Rotary Club, say in Uganda or another underserved country, to coordinate some distributions and clinics in their area.
That would be great.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to interrupt all of this because we are running back on time and Robin is here now. So let's do our fun song. Mr. J, you are on.
Okay. This is, we didn't know what Robin was going to talk about, but I know she talked about theft before. So I wrote a song about that. So here it goes. When works of great art suddenly depart, we'd like to know how it's done. Did they have an inside man to help with their plan? Or did they just do it for fun? So Robin's here today to explain to us the way that these artistic crooks don't go by the books, and their methods can sometimes amaze. It's often at night when no one's in sight that they break in and stop the alarm. They cut out the frame, although it's a shame, 'cause rolling it up causes harm. So Robin's here today to explain to us the way that these artistic crooks don't go by the books, and their methods can sometimes amaze. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Good job, Jay. Welcome. All right.
Was not the same tune of last week?
It's always the same tune.
I thought it was Passover on the Range this week. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yes.
And he's getting better with words and music. I think it's great.
Yes. All right, Dr. Doug, would you like to introduce Miss Robin?
Why, yes, indeed, I would be delighted to. Robin, certainly no stranger, having graced our presence several times before with always interesting and erudite talks. After several years on the faculty at, am I coming through?
You are.
At the University of Illinois-Champaign, where she was not only involved in the university arts community, but also the local community in a variety of capacities, receiving many, many awards and recognition of her enthusiastic and enlightening teaching style. She relocated to Oceanside, and North County has been the recipient of beneficiary of her talent. She's active in the Oceanside Museum of Art and remains during the pre-COVID times actively involved in organizing a variety of art lectures and art tours. We're just so thrilled to have her back once again. So thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. And I accidentally muted you, Robin, so you'll have to unmute yourself first, Robin. There we go. There you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Doug. Well, I am going to talk about art theft, and I will give you some tips if you're interested in a new life of crime. I don't recommend it, although art thieves don't get much jail time at all. I'm going to share my screen, so just bear with me a second.
Oh, geez. Oh, dang it. This thing rolls on me. I'm sorry, Robin. I just did that again, and I apologize. That is so stupid of me. There you go.
So we're unmuted.
I'm promising I'm leaving everything alone now.
Well, my PowerPoint just flipped back to the beginning again, and so I'm not going to re-give this first part of the lecture, honest, even though there's going to be a quiz at the end. But remember, we started with really, art has been stolen for thousands of years because art means money, art means power, it means prestige. And so let me get to where we ended up last. And you might recognize some of these images, although it's been quite a while since we've been together. Oh boy, so I just went through World War II, the Elgin marbles. Let's see, Isabella Stewart Gardner. I think I talked about the Barnes collection. And I think I was also showing you, like the most expensive artworks in the world. And so, why wouldn't a thief try to steal some of these multi-million-dollar works of art? The interesting thing, though, is that about $80 billion a year of art changes hands. Now, they said during COVID that, those proceeds have gone down about 20%, but the art theft has not. And so we're looking at over $10 billion worth of art stolen every year. Well, to add to that amount of 80 billion being spent on art a year, we had this. I'm sure you all saw this in your news feed, where these 5,000 images posted for the last 5,000 days by Beeple, his name, he takes on the name Beeple, sold for just about $70 million. Now, I'm not really great at math, but when I was figuring it out, that means each one of those 5,000 images cost about $14,000. And so 5,000 times is about that. Now, what is NFT art? It's digital art. And they really think this is going to be the wave of the future. Now, whoever bought that, and they haven't disclosed who did that, paid that much money. They are licensed. It is his, it's no one else's. But because it's on the internet, how do you safeguard? I mean, I just downloaded this, right? Here's some close-ups of it. It'll have a digital serial number for ownership, so no one else can claim ownership. But I'm still wondering how that's going to work in the future. Copyright issues and things like that. And so toward the end of the lecture, I'm going to talk a little bit about how digital art could be the way of the future. More people get to see it. You don't have to travel to an art museum. It's kind of like Bitcoin. It's kind of beyond me what's going on there. Anyway, I added some new things since last time. Back to before digital, of course, Napoleon was a great conqueror, as you know, great in some people's eyes. And he went around Europe and he sacked so many places. Well, one of his favorite places was actually Venice. And so he took this massive painting, it's like 32 feet long, and I don't know if it's 20 feet high. And he decided that the Louvre had to have it because France really felt like they were the epitome of the art world and they should have all the best art. So Napoleon said, okay, well, I'm going to take this piece back. How he transported the wedding at Cana is beyond me. This is the wedding where Jesus made wine out of water, and the Venice monks had commissioned Veronese to do this piece for them in their chapel. Well, Napoleon wanted it for his wedding. So he had it transported back to the Louvre. Now, what's interesting, here's the copy of it that lives in Venice. Because when Italy asked for it back from France, the thing was, 500 years old and it was very unstable. And to move it probably would have destroyed it. So it still lives in the Louvre. But this is the copy that we would see. I think it's in San Giorgio's church in Venice. So it's really quite amazing how, I wonder if the French ever gave restitution to the people of Venice, although these bronze horses were returned to Venice. Napoleon also stole these. These were on the top of St. Mark's Church in Venice, in that plaza, if some of you have been there. They were returned. No one trusted them to be outside anymore, so they are in a museum, and they have replicas placed on St. Mark's Church. So people go to all this time and money and expense, not only to steal things, but to get them back or make facsimiles. So it's a huge, huge business, I should say. In fact, it's the third largest money exchange of money in the world. I think I mentioned this last time, but remember, they think that the third highest grossing criminal activity after drugs and weapons. It's really quite astounding. They call art theft the largest money laundering process in the world. But anyway, this one, jump a little fast forward here, this was stolen by a German archaeologist in 1912. Well, he was supposed to list everything that he was taking out of Egypt at the time. This somehow he tucked under his arm or something. I can't quite imagine because she's life size. But here we have Nefertiti that lives in Berlin. Well, Egypt asked for it back and said, okay, we'll swap, these many Egyptian artifacts if we get Nefertiti back. Well, it was one of Hitler's favorite things. And so he said no. And so they hid it the Germans hid it in a salt mine during World War II. The Americans found it and they returned it to Berlin instead of Egypt. So she's beautiful. If you've been to Berlin, you've seen it. They've got a massive Egyptian collection. So they got a lot more out of Egypt than just this piece. I think they have the third largest collection of Egyptian artifacts. Most of them were probably stolen. So what makes art so valuable? Here we have a Basquiat painting. It just recently sold for $110 million. What art thief wouldn't want to steal this? But the problem is, if you tried to sell this Basquiat, if you sold it and tried to sell it, you would need provenance, like who owned it last, the whole history of this painting. Well, this painting was done in the 1960s. So, the provenance is not that long, but auction houses, museums, everybody is so careful now because they're very skeptical of anything that people say, well, grandma had it, or I got it at a garage sale and have no provenance at all. Wouldn't it be worth your time to steal something worth $110 million? Because, as I said, art thieves are not jailed very often. More on that later. So when I talk about provenance, like here's a Monet painting, it's worth or recently sold for $84 million. And here's the provenance for this one painting. So everything has to be documented. Without this, it's very difficult to sell. And not only that, but you have to have the papers. So if you're an art thief, you've got to make sure you grab the papers before you go. And that's the biggest misstep that art thieves make, is they they just grab the artwork. Now there's 3 types of art theft. Like my song, the song you sang me, you want to know how this was done. Okay, well, number 1 is the cave hit. And that's when a thief has been commissioned to grab a certain work of art. And when we say cave, that means it's going to be hidden in some wealthy person's collection. It's never going to see the light of day, but I'm going to admire that Toulouse-Lautrec on my wall forever, right? And then there's the fire sale, where an artist will grab it and he'll flip it right away. So it's like really quick. And the work typically goes for about 10% of its worth. So, but that's worth a lot of money, obviously. So 10% of 5 million is 500,000. So if you're a desperate art thief, you'll go for that. Anyway, and then there's the long bet. Now, the long bet is where a thief will steal a work of art and just sit on it for years, sit on it for decades, whatever. And then magically it appears. Well, you're going to see some of those magic appearances here in a minute. So, you know, I have just about 500,000 artworks. They're on the register. They're still being lost. Like I said, only 10, 12, 15% will ever be recovered. Here is a Van Gogh piece. This one is one of the most expensive missing artworks in the world. Maybe I talked about the Celine Yard Cellar before. This is still missing by Da Vinci. It was stolen from a Scottish castle from what looked like a couple of tourists. Again, they just took it off the wall. I have a graphic of which countries have the most stolen artwork and what art thieves really like the most to steal. Anyway, I think I told you about the Van Eyck panels. One of the pieces is still missing, but they made a facsimile. It's been stolen several times. Like I said, Napoleon came in, the Calvinists wanted to burn it, the Nazis stole it. You know, everybody loves this Ghent off altarpiece. In fact, Van Eyck, it's said, invented oil painting, which he didn't really, but this was, what do I want to say, inspirational to the Baroque artists, to 20th century artists. It really is a magnificent piece, totally modern at that time. But the largest number of stolen art is in Iraq. You'll see that in my schematic. So many of these things were looted during those wars. It's just hideous. Now, this piece, this particular, he's like a worshiping entity that usually goes at the top of the ziggurats, was missing its head before, but they finally got it back, which is good. But again, so many of these artifacts were broken and looted. We'll see more of that later. Now they've created a national museum in Iraq to hold their treasures, much like Cairo, Egypt has a new massive Egyptian art museum. They want a lot of their things back. So maybe I told you about this. A Sleepy Guard let this one go, the Cézanne. You know, Cézanne's work sells for, 100 million at least. Gloria Vanderbilt Whitney had beautiful murals done. This one was stolen out of West Hollywood. And this one, I might have stopped here, I'm not sure. But this is a Henry Moore sculptor, very famous mid-century sculptor, British artist. And he does a lot of these all over the world. You'll see Henry Moore's. You know, very, what do I want to say, cutting edge as far as the figure goes. Well, this thing this weighed 2 tons. They think that a truck pulled up one night, must have had a crane, put that in the truck or the flatbed, and they took off with it. Somebody said, oh yeah, I think I saw a flatbed that night. And it was worth at least $2 million at the time. And this was a long time ago. Was it 20 years ago? Anyway, do I have that? Anyway, they think it was melted down and sent to China for electronic parts, all that bronze. And it was sold for probably $1,600, which is really sad. I mean, it's gone, it's destroyed. You're going to find a lot of artwork has been destroyed for many reasons. Mom burnt it, it went over the cliff. It's just crazy stuff. Anyway, these are some of his volumetric drawings. You can see that he is a sculptor, much like Michelangelo was a sculptor, and that yes, they did 3-dimensional images, but even their drawings look 3-dimensional, very valuable. Now, this is interesting and closer to home. This de Kooning, and I think I flashed through a de Kooning that just recently sold for over $200 million. I mean, What are you going to do with 200 million, right? Anyway, this de Kooning, his women series, was worth about $160 million. And it was recently found in the estate of a married couple in New Mexico. Both of them were teachers, and they stole a lot of art to fund their retirement. Well, this one was found behind their bedroom door. So you would never see this de Kooning except when they closed the door. And so there's how they had the de Kooning in their bedroom. These are, so if you see these people, they're still on the lam. These are the two school teachers that sold this or stole this particular de Kooning. Now the details are unknown, you know, but an estate sale person saw this artwork. I think I have a slide. Yeah, saw this artwork, and he decided to report it, which is what you should do. You know, you suspect it's an original, so they now it's returned back to the University of Arizona. So that's a happy ending, especially for that amount of money. Now the University of Arizona will probably hide it, which is kind of sad. They really should put it out on display. So this is, we continue. Rio de Janeiro, the art museum lost this Matisse during his Fauvist period. You know, this is a cutting edge piece for early 20th century. They also stole some dollies, Salome, and I think there's another Dali painting. Yeah, they also stole the two balconies. So they just lift them off the wall and they leave. These are worth millions of dollars. New South Wales, they think that this is Van Meer's self-portrait. It's called The Small Cavalier. Remember, artists of this time period oftentimes did not name their artwork. And so it's up to art historians to do that. Zurich has been, you know, Europe is just not careful with their artwork. The United States has the least amount of stolen artwork in the world because we know how valuable it is. We put alarms on the door. We hire guards. Some museums have guards with guns. You know, it's even kind of scary to walk in and see that little holster on their hip, but they don't want to lose their artwork. And some museums in Europe are not even insured. So if that work disappears, that's it, that's all. Now, insurance is another matter which I will get to. But anyway, here's a museum in Zurich. As you can see, a lot of these are residential. So we have Cézanne's boy in a red vest. Remember, his work led to Cubism in the 20th century. Later, it was found, as I said, in Serbia. These, now this is interesting. A couple of Van Goghs were stolen out of a museum, and they were just found in the backseat of a car. So sometimes these art thieves get nervous. So this is another happy ending. This is back. As you know, Van Gogh's work is worth probably $100 million as well. This is a seminal piece done by Monet. That's actually his wife and his children out picking poppies. And it was found in the same back seat as the one I just showed you. And this Monet is probably worth well over $60 million. This Degas, Degas' patron and his two children. This one is still missing. Here's another beautiful piece. This was stolen. This is in Rotterdam. And what's interesting about the Rotterdam thefts is this beautiful art museum. The, oh gosh, I can't remember the architect right now. He's really famous. He's done a lot of things. But this is the guard looking for clues afterwards. This is the museum. So it's surrounded by windows. So you can look in and you can see, you can do your shopping if you're a thief from the windows. You break into one of those windows, you grab the artwork and you leave. And again, it's a beautiful place, but it's very hard to protect. You know, a lot of contemporary art museums are all glass, but these are the missing pieces. Oh, it's Rem Koolhaas. That's the architect. I couldn't remember that. But these thieves were captured in 2013. And this is about burning the artwork. Mom burns the artwork. During the trial, one of the thieves' mother claimed she burned the paintings. And then she rescinded that. And then she said, then in her fireplace, they found bits of tacks and bits of painting in that fireplace. And so the Monets are on the top and the bottom in the middle. And those Monets, those are when he was quarantined in London, I believe, those could probably fetch $50 to $60 million each. And they're gone. Here's some other close-ups of pieces that were stolen. Matisse, Picasso, Lucian Freud, 20th century artist. Here's a close-up of one of those Monets. Okay, so also in this Tokyo Palace in Paris, the thieves broke through a screen window, again, not a high security place, and they blamed it on a faulty security system and a sleeping guard. Well, that sleeping guard probably got some money. Okay, so in 2010, these pieces were stolen. I mean, the amounts are staggering. This is how we're getting up to $10 billion a year in stolen art. This very famous Pigeon and Peas by Picasso, Cubist period. Of course, Picasso was very prolific, but his work still commands high prices of money. Leger, this one is missing as well. He was a futurist in the scheme of things. And in this Modigliani is probably the most forged artist. So who knows if the thieves got a real one or a forged one, but they think this was possibly destroyed and the thieves were caught. And again, they don't get much jail time. They're not punished. So there's really no reason to not be a thief. Anyway, here's Monet's San Giorgio. It's worth at least $35 million. That disappeared. But what's interesting about that particular piece is, let's see, he embezzled, oh yeah, here we go. The embezzlement by John Lowe. John Lowe was embezzled US government funds. And when we found out that he had this painting, we went in, he had stolen. We went in and used it for the payback of all those US funds that he embezzled, so, we'll get the money back any way we can, and sold for $35 million. Oh, now this is a good story too. This painting was stolen from a Athens art museum. And as my thing says here, Picasso's artwork is the most stolen in the world. There's still like 1,200 of his works missing. But he gave this painting to the people of Athens. He loved the people of Athens because of their resistance during World War II to the Nazis. He really admired the people of Athens and he wanted to give them a gift. So that's what he gave them there. All right. Now, another Picasso that was stolen is the Crying Woman. Now, she was bought for $1.6 million in '85. I don't know what 1.6 would be worth today, but anyway, it was stolen. And what were they? They were kind of Australian pranksters, and they decided that they were going to hold this painting for ransom. They wanted more money funded toward artists and art, and so the government did not pay the ransom. They kind of called their bluff, and it was returned and found in a train locker station. No ring, the art thieves didn't really want to hurt it in any way, but they just wanted to call attention to themselves, which I don't blame them. And there it is, reinstated in Victoria. Anyway, the Magritte Museum, this was his home, and it was broken into, and this painting of his wife was stolen, Magritte's wife, and very few Magrittes are missing. I like his work, but thieves don't target it so much because they couldn't sell it. So they returned it. Some of these people are so hapless. This is an interesting thing in that this painting was en route to a European exhibition because Frida was very popular in Europe, not so much in the US. And today it would be worth about $20 million. But it was stolen en route. And here you can see Frida actually painting it, the specter of death there, the wounded table. This is when she was going through a rough time with Diego Rivera, and she's having her hair cut off, and she's got this lumbering giant behind her with a little head. That's probably Diego. And then the skeleton, which again is a specter of death. Now, her work has set all kinds of records, art sales by Latin American women. And just as a little aside, Diego Rivera's mural was found in a Russian art museum in a storeroom after 50 years. They thought it was stolen. They thought it was gone, but oh, it's in the storeroom. And this is one of her recently sold paintings for at least $8 million. And here's the mural that was lost by Diego Rivera. But it's been found. This also happened in the Queen of England's collection. You know, they thought they had missed a Caravaggio, or it was stolen. Oh, they found it under wraps. Okay, so residential theft happens a lot. People break into somebody's home and they grab their artwork. Sometimes thieves target rich people's homes, and the artwork is actually an afterthought. So they're looking for jewelry, they're looking for money, and then, oh, they see a painting on the wall. Oh, it must be worth something. So they grab this. They grabbed that. This work was found folded in the thief's parents' home. The parents were the caretakers to this mansion in Australia. So the son knew about the artwork. He stole it and he folded it up. Okay, a little closer to home, Encino, California. This couple was asleep in their home and the maid went out for groceries. Well, when the maid came back, the artwork was gone. Now the thieves were found. So they have Chagall's. Yeah, this is a close-up of that Chagall. They had a Diego Rivera. Now these were just hanging on the wall. They had a Hans Hofmann. Hans Hofmann was one of the stellar New York school art teachers. He taught people like Lee Krasner, Helen Frankenthaler. I mean, Hans was really well-known. Anyway, Darko tried to sell this work for a mere $700,000, and he only spends 4 years in jail for this. That's really one of the most years I've seen for an art thief. But the interesting thing is the FBI received this tip, and they met Darko, who wanted to sell this work, in a hotel room, and they had the videotapes going and everything. And as soon as the artwork came out, they arrested him. Now, LA. So yeah, here's all the work that he stole. LA has their own art theft unit. This is the only art theft unit in the world. And they recovered, over $130 million in 20 years. And so it's kind of fun to read these articles about how they found out about the artwork. And, there's a lot of money in LA. And so here's some of the work that they got back. Since this happened, though, a couple of things have happened. They don't have that art unit anymore. The FBI doesn't have it, but you can go on their website and you can look them up. And about art theft, suspects, bulletins, forgeries. I mean, it's really an interesting website. But I just so happened to be watching one of those murder shows on TV, Dateline or something. And it said that this woman had murdered her ex-husband's girlfriend or something like that. And she just happened to be in the LA art FBI unit. So that little woman on the right is now in prison for life for killing another woman. Just so interesting. Anyway, another way to be a thief in the art world is by forgery. So this is John Myatt. He is a very talented artist who was approached by a gallery dealer years ago. And he said, John, why don't you do some, fake Monets and Van Goghs, and, got so much talent. And so they kind of went into business together, and they through the years, they sold millions of dollars worth of work. In fact, maybe I mentioned this last time, but some art historians said, when you go through art museums, a full half of the art you walk by are forgeries. So they're not really Matisses, they're not Cézannes, they're not Modiglianis, they're not Picassos, they're forgeries. So that's why another reason you want provenance. You want to make sure that you're getting the real thing. Anyway, he was caught and he spent a year in jail for millions of dollars worth of, gypping people out of. Anyway, so now that he's out of jail, he's painting paintings that he clearly makes you know that he was the painter, not the artist that you think it is. So he does Van Goghs, he does Monets, but he sells them for quite a bit of money. So he's got a lot of talent. So then people ask me, well, what's the difference? If you really like it and it's not a Monet, then, but I wouldn't pay $36 million for it. Anyway, here we go. This piece was recently retrieved. This is a Van Gogh. It's in his dark series. You know, this is before he went to Paris and his work brightened up. And that's before he went to Arles and met with Gauguin. So this is a very important piece as well. So these are his early paintings. So just another example of his dark work. And they're recovered now. You know, the Dutch are really cool about this. We were in Amsterdam when they were found, and it wasn't like a big applause went up or anything. So, oh, well, they're back. Fine. Put them back in the Van Gogh Museum. Closer to home again, here's the Gauguin sculpture in the Getty. They discovered it was a fake because he never put anything on a pedestal like before that, and it wasn't signed. So I think the Getty has taken it off view now, and it's in storage, and they're still trying to authenticate it. And you can see that it's very similar to some of his drawings and prints and things, you know, so you see the object, but somebody must have done that, sold it to the Getty for millions of dollars. Let's see, I think it said, you know, the Getty never discloses how much they pay for anything, but somebody disclosed that they paid $3 million for that sculpture. But since it's not authentic, they really can't put it on view. Now, the Bible Museum, this is interesting. They bought, this is the owner of Hobby Lobby, very religious person, and he bought a series of Dead Sea Scrolls. And they found out that many of the Dead Sea Scrolls that he bought were forged. In fact, they found them to be on ancient leather, but the leather could have been, you know, Roman shoe leather or whatever. And the original scrolls were on coated paper, not leather. So the forgers didn't know any better. And they, you know, the ink wasn't as old as it should have been or whatever. Anyway, but the immoral and illegal acquisition of stolen Iraqi artifacts, the Bible Museum had, because that supported ISIS, they had to forfeit all the objects, and they paid a $3 million fine. So 3,800 of the objects that the Hobby Lobby people bought for the Bible Museum had to be returned to Iraq. And they actually did it in a very nice ceremony in Washington, D.C. So that's kind of sad. It'd be kind of fun to go to that museum. I haven't been there yet. So here's what it looks like inside. So they have cuneiform, they have, you know, these middle relief wall fragments, and most of them were bought legally. Some of them were stolen, so they have to be returned. And no one pays. I mean, if you have a stolen object, you don't get any reparation at all for that. You have to give it back. And here we are, some more objects they have. It looks like a gorgeous museum. And like over $30 million in collection. But here's the forged Dead Sea Scrolls. I was lucky enough to see those in, I think it was Grand Rapids, Michigan. We went up to see this exhibit of Dead Sea Scrolls before Hobby Lobby bought them. And they were fascinating. Unfortunately, you know, about like 100 years ago when they found some, they Scotch taped them together. And so now they're meticulously trying to get that Scotch tape adhesive off these Dead Sea Scrolls. Anyway.
So Robin, real quick, I'm sorry. I know we started late and I've let us run over about 10 minutes. Can you wrap up in about 2 minutes? And I apologize.
No, that's fine. I'll hit the high notes. So,
okay.
The Golden Toilet by this Maurizio was apprehended. What he wanted to do is make a golden toilet. Anybody could use it, and it was stolen, $1 million value. It hasn't been returned. It's probably, but he's the same man who did the banana.
Oh,
just so you know. All right, let's see some. Oh, this was a big $1 billion in this priced in Germany. They were on display, many cultural objects. The reason that they didn't get everything is a lot of these brooches and necklaces and things were sewed into the cabinets, and they couldn't break them and get them out. So anyway, Oh, so here's the countries with the most art theft. Iraq, obviously, Afghanistan. Look at where the United States is. Really, really low down on there. And they recover about 50% of their things. See the really red mark in Iraq and Afghanistan, Syria, Libya? They don't get any of their stuff recovered, or very few pieces. And then what's most popular with art thieves? Sculptures. Who'd have thought that? I always thought it was paintings. So I'm going to just wrap it up there with a couple of statements. If anyone has any questions or comments, I'm more than happy to answer them. And I'm sorry I went over.
No, Robin, it was my fault. I should have checked in with you earlier last week, and I apologize for that.
No, appreciated.
You really do an amazing job every time you come and speak with us, and this is fascinating. We could just have a 4-hour program with you someday. Are you still, or do you have any idea of when you're going to be doing the groups going up to the Getty again?
Well, I think we have to get to a different tier.
Okay.
And the Getty has not reopened. I keep checking with them. A lot of museums are starting to open, and a lot of them are opening April 1st. They're using that. Now, I did want to mention, if anybody's interested in what's going on at the Oceanside Museum of Art, we have 4 incredible exhibitions that have been installed. And Thursday night from 7 to 7:30 online, you can go on OMA's website. They're going to give a preview and kind of a brief tour of each one of our galleries. If you want to go starting April 1st, just book your tickets. I tell you, the work is jaw-dropping this time. We have the 20 women exhibition, women artist exhibition up, very diverse, interesting art. I mean, and the California Impressionism is still up. And then we have this woman who does these incredible combinations of succulent plants. And I know it sounds kind of lame, but
No, that actually sounds very cool. Creative.
very creative. So I'll be quiet now, but come visit us at Oceanside Museum of Art.
And what a great way to support the museum. And I'm sure you guys, just like so many other museums, have just been hurting with no people coming by. So what a great way to support the Museum of Art. And if what I'll do is I'll look up that website and I'll put it out for our Centerview on Monday. And we'll see if we can get some people to stop by. Thank you again so very much. Again, just a brilliant program, and I'm so sorry we had to rush you on it, because it would have absolutely, well, it was great. I'm going to leave it open shortly if anyone does have questions for Robin. And you know what? I think I'm just going to save my thoughts for the week for next week, since I seem to recycle stuff over and over anyhow. And I'll just formally close the meeting. Ding, ding, ding. The bell is rung. If anyone has questions for Robin, please go ahead.
Okay.
Jake.
I have a couple questions. One, I thought a mural was on a wall, and so that seems harder to steal than a canvas.
People have done it. In fact, they're starting to sell Banksy's work. He does those spray painted graffiti things on walls in different cities. They're starting to tear out the walls and transport the whole wall away.
Okay, and the other question was, there was just a recent documentary about a New York art dealer, a woman. It's Now You See It or something like that, where they had a Chinese forger doing all these incredible Jackson Pollock and things like that, and then a Hispanic or a Mexican woman would present it and said, "Oh, I found this," and they had him doing all these different forgeries, and it went to court. I can't remember the name of it, but it was very interesting. I think it was on Amazon or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it yet, but I remember when that was all in the papers, and she was blatantly stealing people's money. Just, this is a Diego Rivera, whatever. Give me money. And I don't think she's in jail for very long either.
She didn't get convicted.
She did not?
She did not.
Wow.
It's worthwhile watching. She thought they were all real. I'm not talking about the one who sold it. I'm talking about the art dealer who said she thought they were real. She didn't get convicted.
Uh-huh. Well, a lot of the way they discern if it's actual work of art, like if you're going to do a Van Gogh or like John Myatt, they researched, and Van Gogh used a certain type of titanium white, which was only manufactured, over 140 years ago. And the artists today use titanium white that couldn't have been manufactured that long ago. So it's just.
That's exactly right. It was a yellow pigment and that wasn't around when Jackson Pollock painted. And that's how they said it couldn't be a Jackson Pollock.
Right. And he used all kinds of paint. He used automobile paint, house paint, anything he could get his hands on. And so they'd have to replicate that too.
Hey, Robin, this is Roy Henderson. I've got a question for you. Sure. My question is there a statute of limitations on art theft?
That's a good point.
So people might have the motivation, because you say people sit on paintings for years, or they motivated to steal it, wait out the statute of limitations, and then say, here you go, I can sell it with no recrimination.
It used to be 7 years. And so if you stole a Jackson Pollock and then 7 years later, oh, I found it in my basement, it's okay. But Ted Kennedy, God bless his rotten soul, had Congress elongate that to 20 years. So now you'd have to sit on that painting for 20 years and then magically discover it to sell.
That's the US law. What about laws in other countries?
Oh, like I said, they're so lax over there. My Italian friend, when he was showing me around, he says, we've got so much art over here. It's stacked up in people's basements. Because in Europe, they've been producing these masterpieces for what, 700, 800, 1800 years, I don't know, just forever. And they're just not that cautious with them. They don't value it as much as the American museums do. Strange.
Thanks. That was great.
It really was.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Stay healthy. We'll see you
You
soon.
too.
You as well. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Yes, very much.
Goodbye.
Bye. Take care, all. You guys have a great week, and I will be so much better next week, I promise.
You're great.
Yeah, thank you. Bernadette, thank you for your wonderful smile today. It was nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, and we will see you all next Tuesday. You guys have a good week.
Goodbye, everybody.